From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about why I've been gone, so let me strike the music and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, the very first video podcast. Thank you. I got my Hawaiian shirt on because we're in summer. We're in a heat wave right now. Half the country is burning up. It is so hot. Hotter than a Mexican's ass in the summer. Sweatier. Been gone for a while because I've been trying to create a video podcast, and it's sort of, I got into that perfection thing, right? The enemy of the best is the perfect. You want it to be perfect, but there is no perfect. There's only the best you can do. So I'm doing the best I can do, folks. Also, I've been ill a little bit. I had a pinched nerve, went down my leg, went up my back. In my head was my sciatica. My sciatica's acting up. My sciatica. But I feel better. It's all good. I got a scary cat right here, because I say scary things. And I got Spaceman right here. Right there. I don't know why I have them up. I'm just trying to make the screen look active. You might like them. I might implement them. I might ask them questions. Whatever. So a lot has happened. Shitload have happened. I think, like, my last podcast, I talked about the very first shooting. And I'm trying to remember which one is that. There's been so many. And I think there's been like 3 shootings since then. I think one of them was blamed with this gang violence, but still, there's a problem in our society. There is a problem in our society. And one of the major things, a society that has the strictest gun laws got their president killed. Someone made a homemade gun, went out to him, shot him, and he died from that assassin's bullet, a homemade gun. And there is, and we can only speak upon America, and that's rare for them. We have to give props where props is due. Japanese, when it comes to violence, are not as violent as Americans. That's just a fact. And we should give them props for that. They have a high suicide rate, and they're not screwing each other, and it looks like their society is going to be gone in centuries because they don't know how to mate, I guess, or not that they don't know how to mate. I'm sorry, that they don't know how to talk to each other. A lot of their entertainment, they just go into deep dives. I mean, Americans have that with porn, right? Some men will go into a deep dive in porn, and in their fantasy of their mind, that replaces a real girlfriend and a real chance to create a family. It sort of fulfills that for them, but it's also detrimental to our society. And Elon Musk says, which is, I think, you should listen to him more than politicians, because politicians are idiots. And this man is trying to get us to Mars, and anybody that's threatened by him, that he's solving problems that government wish it could, with more efficiency and better ideas, they don't like him. But he thinks that we need to start having more kids, because the rate we're going, there's going to be a problem. But back to the guns. There's 400 million guns in America. They're not going away. And there's been plenty of laws written that if the person obeyed them, they would have never shot anybody. But someone who intends to shoot somebody don't obey laws. And it's weird for me that those who are left of center believe that when you create a law, that magically disarms bad people. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. It is the equivalent to a king back in the Knights of the Round Table. He takes all his men off the castle walls and decrees, and brings them into his throne room, and he decrees, hey everyone, I'm going to create a law that whenever an invading force attacks our castle, I'm going to create a law that they have to attack without their swords. And so we really don't need people on the wall to do that, because we created a law that when the invading force comes in, they won't use their swords, so it will be a lot easier to deal with. Well, everybody would think that king is crazy or an idiot. We got to prepare for the world that we live in, the world that we are living in today. And right now, we should give teachers the choice to be able to defend themselves. You see, there are sheep and then there are shepherds. We should allow people to be shepherds. Sheep are going to be sheep. They're going to look for people to protect them. But there's certain people, and it covers all genders, that would want the opportunity to defend themselves. And we should allow them to be a shepherd, because of the wolf is going to come. I'm not saying you should make teachers have a gun. That would be ridiculous. But if those who choose to, want to, should be their constitutional right to do that, and we should allow it. Also, we should have armed guards at every school. Not only every school, every mall, every movie theater. We got to prepare for the world that we're living in, not the world that we want. You can create those laws, and that's fine. That will just limit law-abiding citizens' rights. It won't do nothing to the bad person. What we need to do, and you should not patronize, or buy or give your hard-earned money to places that did not protect or not prepared to deal with an active shooter. I wouldn't go to a mall unless they have armed guards. Malls are long at every entrance, that people are able to. Let me tell you, my brain's going crazy. Israelis had a big problem where Muslim extremists would go and blow up or go shoot up schools, and then they put an armed guard there. And there was a couple of attempts, and those attempts were thwarted by the armed guard. Guess what? They stopped trying to attack schools. They stopped. Because there was an armed guard there. They knew they weren't going to be able to do that. And there's a variety of reasons why someone does something like that. We have a very big mental health problem in this country, and back to when I was talking about that the Japanese have certain things in their culture where they're just not violent, and we should give them props for that, because we are. And there's a price to pay for freedom and allowing people to do that. And we must acknowledge that, because there's always been guns in this country. Always been guns. What is different is the people who are living in it now. We're more violent. We're disconnected. We're easily offended. A lot of what has been going on, what we've been teaching kids, is that they have a right to be easily offended, and it's only a few jumps to by saying words are violence, which can justify someone shooting somebody else when you're equating words to bullets. It's not wise. It's not intelligent. And it's a recipe for disaster. In this country, And I can only speak for myself. If I was in an active shooter situation and something was happening and people were being shot and it's getting closer to me, my first thought would not be, my God, where is the law to stop this guy? I think my first thought would, God, I wish I had a gun. And not just me. And if you are someone who says to themselves, I wish there was a law to stop this person, my friend, you're a sheep. And that's fine. But sheep don't solve the problem. Shepherds do. So there should be people with guns. And the law can never take a place of a shepherd protecting the sheep. It won't. It's something that makes us feel like we're doing something. Now, there is laws that should be able to research quickly whether someone have mental problems and they've been committed violent crimes. That information should come back quickly. In this country, when you break the law or you become a problem, mostly when you break the law, you lose rights. That's what jail is. You get into what we call slavery. Jail is slavery without people working in fields, and they used to work in fields. But it is we all believe in slavery. When people say, "Oh my God, the Bible has slavery in it," well, my friends, you believe in slavery too, because you believe that people should be paid and have their rights taken away. When you take freedom away from it, you are now a slave. Not all slaves work hard. Some slaves have to stay in a cubicle until they pay their price, until they become straight with a house, and they pay their dues for the crime they committed. So don't fool yourself. You're for slavery. You're just not for chattel slavery. But incarcerating people is a form of slavery. But those people have given up their rights, and those people shouldn't have guns, obviously. Also, if you've been committed, there should be a hold. There might be a room for if you've been committed, or if someone has complained about your mental health, you might need to have an evaluation before you get a gun. That might be common sense, right? We shouldn't just give anybody a gun. That's crazy. Right? But at the end of the day, in America, if you have done nothing wrong, it is your right to have and bear arms. It is your right. And we don't want to stomp on that right. We don't. And any laws that does that would not stop an active shooter from shooting people. And that's the big thing. All these laws, 99% of the laws suggested by people to stop mass shootings would not stop it. It's just people taking this opportunity to limit people's guns. So until you have a better answer, and look it, you cannot depend upon the cops to protect you. Those cops did not go into that school in Texas. They didn't. They should have went in first. There is a big problem with the training, and it has to do with cops not being appreciated. And if cops are not being appreciated by the society, they're not going to risk their life for the society. They're going to do the minimum. And those cops did the minimum, which was cowardly. And there was a failure in leadership, and people need to pay, and people need to lose their jobs. For you to hear children being shot and not go in there and do something about it, but you have to listen to a sergeant or a lieutenant telling you not to do it, then you're not made for this job. You're just not made to be a cop. Look at, I say this for teachers, and I say this for policemen. If you want that level of respect, you must take that level of responsibility. If you want to live in a world where you are not responsible for your actions or what you produce, well, we're not going to live in that world. We shouldn't live in that world. If you are a bad cop or a bad teacher, your ass needs to go, and that's it, bottom line. Kids are coming out of school right now with the inability to read, not graduating high school, and granted, it is a parent's job to make them value that. But if they get into the school, that's your area where you get them. And if you don't have the skills to inspire and to train and to motivate and to teach, if you're just phoning it in, you need to go. Loud motorcycle. You need to go. If you want that level of respect, you must take that level of responsibility. You have to take a portion of that responsibility while that kid doesn't know how to read, while that kid dropped out of school. You have to take that. You have to take a measure of responsibility for that. Same thing. If you are someone who has multiple complaints, if you're someone who initially wants to stomp on people's rights, my friend, if it is something that you repeatedly do, then you need to go. That's it. At the end of the day. So, I know people are going to try to make laws. That's fine. But to deal with the immediate situation, we need to have armed guards in schools. We need to have armed guards at movie theaters and events. We need to have metal detectors because there are people who hate life. And there's people who want to make people pay for the life that they have. And maybe because people won't listen to them, they feel marginalized and they just want to take it out on the innocent, like that guy did in Texas. To shoot children, you have to have a major mental problem. And when someone is constantly having mental issues and constantly contemplating all the wrong things in their lives, and there is nobody there to tell them, to give them perspective, they will lose perspective. They will get bitter and resentful. And when bitterness and resentful harbors in the heart, the natural reaction is to be angry. And then for those who not fix that, they will become violent. Just a truth in life. So, my friends, so I'm going to talk about that. The first world leader for a long time to get killed. It's pretty sad. But let's go on to the next thing. Roe versus Wade. Wow, this was something that was coming down the line, coming down the pipeline. And everybody who is a constitutional lawyer knew that this was going to be overturned. Those who are left of center didn't want to tell their people that this was going to be overturned, so they wanted it to be surprised. So, especially going into this election. But Roe versus Wade is a terrible law. And every constitutional lawyer and scholar said so. Even though they think it should, some believe it should stay or something similar should have been replaced it. But yeah, a lot of people are upset. But I want to talk about something in general. Federalism. Federalism means that the states create their own law and that there's only specific minute laws that the federal government will enforce, like the Constitution, the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, right to bear arms, not to be forced to. My brain's going blank. Not to be forced to condemn yourself, to plead the fifth, all these things that the government has a very limited, and they can only defend the laws that give power to the people. Roe versus Wade doesn't give people constitutional right to kill a baby. It doesn't. But the states can make a law to do that. And this is how we get along. And when you want the federal government to make laws that some people do not want or did not vote for, you run into problems. We run into violent confrontations because federal laws in general are just like a blanket. They're not surgical. You see, states should be able to create the laws that works best for them, and it goes down to cities, counties. A more fine-tuned laws, the more fine-tuned the law is better for the individuals and the group. When you make an overarching law, like Roe versus Wade, because when that came, it said that if Planned Parenthood wanted to open up a clinic in your state, you could not stop them. And people who live in that state who do not want that, they didn't have a choice to get it out. So there was such contention. So now we got rid of the law. Now it's going back to the states. Some states will choose to have abortion completely legal all the way up to the 3rd trimester. And there's still a debate on whether they can partial birth abortion. And some states are just going to get rid of it altogether. And does that mean you're going to have to migrate to a state that's more closer to your values? Yeah, it does mean that. I mean, I live in California. About 90% of the laws I do not agree with. But my family's here. I was raised here. I don't want to go anywhere else. And there's a price I have to pay for staying. And if it comes up with a law, I vote. I know most of the time my vote doesn't matter. And things stay the same in California. And if I have a problem, truly I have a problem with it, I can move to a state like Texas that has more closer to my values. But I don't like humidity. And I was born in California. And my friends are in California. And my family's in California. So that's enough to make me stay. But I'm still trying to be someone who influences people to more conservative and libertarian ideas. It might fall on many deaf ears, but it is what it is. And if you are someone who are very upset that the state you live in is going to end abortion, then you're going to have to make a decision whether you want to stay in that state. Right? Because things are going to get more fine-tuned. There's definitely going to be, like if you live in Texas and you go to a different state to have an abortion, Texas might kick you out of their state and say, stay in the state where you got the abortion. So there's going to be some crazy things. It's going to get a little worse before it gets better. I mean, it's obviously better for the babies, but certain laws are going to come down. Like in California, it's a real possibility that the 3rd trimester abortion might be illegal. Californians might vote for that. The 1st trimester, 2nd trimester won't probably be touched, but the 3rd trimester, where baby is really developed, I mean, I believe life starts at conception. That's just my personal belief, but I don't think in California they're going to pass a law that's going to make the 1st trimester illegal for abortion. The 2nd might be debated for years upon years, but I think there could be a law in California, probably not in that ungodly state, New York, but in California, there might be a state that makes 3rd trimester abortions illegal, unless it's in the cause of hurting the mother. The mother will die having the baby. That's possible in California. There is enough. Because when it comes down to it, when you start looking at videos about abortion, and when you see the doctors just tearing the baby apart and the baby recoiling in pain, people tend to change their mind, right? Look, we have to decide do we have a moral responsibility to the life that's in us? This is the question. Do we have a moral responsibility? Do women have a moral responsibility to the life within them? And unfortunately, they're saying, a lot of women saying, no, I don't. It is my body. It's my property, and I'll do whatever I want with it. This is the same line of thinking as slaveholders. They own slaves. They said, it's my property. I will kill it, screw it, run it to the ground, torture it. It's my property. I can do whatever I want with it. I have no moral responsibility to that slave. This is the argument that women are using. And I don't think it's thoughtful. And for some slaves are worth more alive, and some slaves are worth more dead. I know this is a very controversial statement, but at the end of the day, if you say, let's just get the things out of the way. It's a life within you. I mean, you can scrape DNA from your nail follicles, from your skin, from your hair, and it'll have your DNA. Everywhere in your body will have your DNA. But if you take that baby and you scrape a little off that baby in your room, it will have a separate DNA than your body. So it's not part of your body. It's a separate DNA. It's a solely miraculous, different entity in your stomach. It has a total different DNA to you. It's not a part of your body. I'm not saying you don't control it. You do control it. The question is, what moral responsibility do you have to it? In our society, just recently, we have lessened that moral responsibility, and millions of babies have been aborted. And especially in the black community. And that's a whole different argument, a whole different teaching about the racism of abortion. But we're going to get through this this time of turmoil, and it'll be better. And some people are going to have to be inconvenienced and moved to different states that hold their values. Just going to have to. And I'm going to have, and it wasn't really a choice for me about abortion, because I knew it was a federal law. Even myself, I have to determine, do I want to stay in the state that condones it? Because because before that, it didn't matter. They had every right to put up a clinic in your state or in your city. And now I know that California has a choice in the matter, and California does not vote in the way that is aligned with my value when it comes to abortion. I have to make a decision that I'm, hard to make. It's hard to make. But at the end of the day, it is better to make the states that make laws that work best for them, that are fine-tuned to that state, and the laws in those counties, and then those laws in those cities and towns. What is best for the citizens who live in that town. It works better. If I won't say that. Well, I'll say it a little bit. I'll hint out to it. A lot of the black community, if they believed in federalism, they could have had their own state with their own police force, with their own towns, with laws that benefit them. But they wait upon the federal government to make laws work wherever they're living. And they don't always work, because the community is diverse. and I believe in diversity, but I believe in minorities making decisions for their community. That's federalism. That's state rights. That's fine-tuning laws that are best for you. Think about that for a moment. All right. What did we talk about? What else are we talking about today? Did I talk about we're having a heat wave? It is hot. It is hot in this room right now. My face is getting red, but whatever. And boom. No, let's get rid of that guy. Boom. Gas prices. Gas prices. I'm going to talk bad about the president in 1, 2, 3. He's so bad. This guy's going into the Middle East and looking for oil deals from countries that support terrorism instead of opening up the Keystone Pipeline in America. He is so beholden to the environmentalist that he's willing to deal with terrorists. I mean, we got out under the Saudi Arabian thumb because of Donald Trump and partly Obama. Because we had our own resources, natural gas. And this guy comes in, cuts down the Keystone pipelines, millions of jobs, gone, saying that he was going to replace those jobs with green jobs. But instead, he handed us a recession instead. I knew it was never going to happen. If you believe that he was going to replace those with replace those jobs with green jobs, then you're a special kind of idiot. I don't know what to tell you. You don't get rid of jobs. I mean, you switch over. You don't get rid of a whole industry and then hope another industry comes in time. No, you wait till the other industry is so dominant that you get rid of the other. Like the car got rid of horses. Can you imagine Ford saying, I'm going to have a car. I'm going to make something called a car in about 5 years. So everybody get rid of their horses right now. People are like, no. Can I see this car first before I get rid of my horse? It's just common sense. This man does not have common sense. He's an idiot. He is the worst president. The worst president we've had since Jimmy Carter. Now, Jimmy Carter is a great guy. Terrible president. But Joe Biden is worse. And I don't think he's cognitively there. And they're making him, I don't know what to tell you. It is so bad that he might usher in another Trump presidency. And this is the problem when you get overly emotional liberals who get triggered by a president who's not very polished a speaker and insults people and is very easily offended. We should take that over a bad economy, a lesser place in the world, and pulling out of places where we should have stayed for the moment and thousands of people dying. This president is the worst president. We should never listen to anybody who get easily offended by how a president talks. We should only judge by what they do. I'm no longer going to judge. I never have. But I'm saying everybody, you should no longer judge what a person says. You should judge what a person does. And Donald Trump, with all his flaws, and he has flaws, I am not going to tell you he does not have flaws. He has very embarrassing flaws. He ran the country well, pissing off liberals at every moment. But he ran the country well. We had a better economy. We had a better standing in the world. On all fronts, he was better. Now we brought into this guy who just as offensive, just as racist, if you look at his past, actually written racist laws, not just like Trump's bumbling words where he found himself to be prejudiced towards certain people. this guy who actually, they brought in a guy who actually created laws that hurt black people, plus a vice president who threw the book at black criminals and hid information that they were innocent. Oh, yeah, let these people come because they don't offend me, because their heart in the right place. And here's the problem. And let me tell you, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Liberal judge people's hearts, and conservative judge what people do. If your heart's in the right place, it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you've done because your heart's in the right place. You can do great things over here, but if your heart is in the wrong place, you're no good. This is the logic that liberals have. They felt Donald Trump was a terrible person, so it didn't matter that black employment was at its highest and Hispanic employment was at its highest, and that women's employment and their pay scale was up. It didn't matter because his heart was in the wrong place. They didn't think he had a good heart. Like Obama, he didn't do anything for anybody. It was pretty bad under Obama, but he could do no wrong because his heart was in the right place. Well, my friends, in this society, we are really learning the lessons that some people who have hearts in the right place are in the wrong position. And they should not, because they are inept and stupid, and they should have never held the office because they're just not intelligent. Just not intelligent. They don't produce intelligent results. They don't. They produce disastrous results. So we should no longer make our decisions about how they make us feel, but what good does it do? We got to stop making decisions based on what makes us feel good, and we should make our decisions based on what does good. And Donald Trump, with all his flaws, when it comes to running the country, did a lot better, way better, than Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a fool. He could have went down in history as the vice president of the first black president. But now he'll go down as one of the worst presidents in American history, and he deserves it. I don't feel sorry for him one bit. Should have just went out off in the sunset, but it is what it is. And that will be his legacy. I mean, Barack Obama told everybody, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up. Well, guess what, my friends? That's exactly what he's doing to us. And we got 2 more years. Hopefully everybody's saying that they're going to be Republicans going to take the House and the Senate. It'll be crazy if that doesn't happen. I'll be surprised. But look like I said, I think Donald Trump's too polarizing to come back. I hope that either Ron DeSantis, but Dan Crenshaw. I want Dan Crenshaw for president. I don't know if that's going to happen. Because I think Donald Trump is so polarizing, it may give Biden an opportunity to be reelected. And that would be a disaster. It would be a mitigated disaster. I think Ron DeSantis, Dan Crenshaw can overwhelmingly win over Biden. But Donald Trump, he got the history, he got the past, and whatever the referendum is on. Donald Trump, because the referendum was on basically the pandemic and how he ran it and the things he said, and he lost. The referendum was on Hillary Clinton, and that's why Donald Trump won, because she was part of this old guard that didn't know how to change things. When Donald Trump and Joe Biden go at it again, there's going to be a referendum. It's going to be a referendum either on what Donald Trump did before he left or how Joe Biden ran the country. And that's a 50-50 chance right there. It's a 50-50 chance. So, I say all that to say this, that we don't need Donald Trump. We just need someone who fights like Donald Trump, but use intelligent words. Doesn't say stupid, doesn't attack people, but attacks people with logic. You know? We don't need Donald Trump to make the world better. He's given us the pattern of how to run the country correctly. And gave you the pattern how not to run your administration. That is easily offended, that attacks people personally, that just puts people off. You know, the reason why he's lost, that the same people who voted him in, white men, went for Joe Biden because of Donald Trump fatigue. Donald Trump picked up more minorities in this last election than he did in the one previous, and more than any other president. That's crazy. He lost a white vote. And that was a vote that and there had to be white men who originally voted for him. So, take that all into consideration. But the gas prices, look it. Let me tell you, this man cuts the Keystone Pipeline, then does a deal with Russia to get gas. Okay? And then Russia goes to war. We condemn him. Russia gives us no gas. At any moment in this time, he can reopen the Keystone Pipeline. Doesn't do it. Doesn't want to do it. Right now, he made some special package where the gas is lower by 20 cents. And it's going to go up once that package wears out, when the money's all gone. It's going to go back up to $6, probably in September. So we're supposed to be appreciative that for our summer, they gave us a little money for the gas. But at any moment, he can open up the Keystone Pipeline and open up opportunities around the ocean for natural gas and get us back on energy independence. We should no longer be beholden to asking people to give us oil that we can't ourselves get. And we are already moving towards a green society. We are the most green society. We have cut more than any of the major countries in the world. It just, when Democrats come in and their solutions for environmentalism is to destroy capitalism, then we got a problem with that. We got a problem with that. Because Elon Musk and people like him who are using capitalism to make the world better, that's the way you should do it. You should depend upon capitalism, not shun it. That's how we're going to change it. We are the most capitalistic society in human history. And we are adding measures that are slowing us down to a crawl. And now we're into a recession. We need to open up the opportunities. We need to stop printing money. Recessions never come from the buyer or the seller. It comes from the government printing money. That's how you do it. Just what he's doing. He's printing money and printing money. And our dollar is getting so worth nothing because there's so much of it. This is why they burn money. So we take the money out of circulation so the dollar will be worth more. It's common sense. This guy just printed it like it was monopoly money. There's no shocker here. There's no shocker here. Why we're in a shitty situation. This guy is making bad decisions globally, internationally. I think that's the same word. In our country, at every turn, this guy makes a bad decision. He needs to go. And we should no longer hold any water for him. I never have. Some of you are. And you're going to be discounted as intelligent if you defend him. If you want me to take what you say about Donald Trump seriously, that you don't like him, and you don't have no criticism about Joe Biden, then no one should listen to you. You're an idiot. We need to get, you as a liberal, you should want to get him out of there as much as you wanted to get Donald Trump out of there. If you don't, my friend, then Democrats are going to have a big problem this coming election. So those are the things right now that are happening. We're in a heat wave. Look at it. I'm sweating. My very first podcast, I'm sweating. But it doesn't matter. I needed to do it. I needed to get out of the way. I need to put air conditioner in here because it's freaking hot. It is hot. So, my friends, I will end with this. I got some movie reviews coming up. A lot of TV shows I watched. And headlines from the world of futurism. There's a lot in the futurism that we need to talk about. It's going to be a big episode because a lot of things have happened. So, my friends, if the storm of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Take a look at that storm and say, give me your best shot. Wait a minute. I messed up. If you find yourself on your knees, stand tall and say what my sensei Jack Burton always says. Give me your best shot. Strike the music. See you later. Nope, wrong one. Shit. Oh no. Doesn't matter. It don't matter. Nope. Bye. Get this shit off here. What'd I do? Oh my god. Oh my god. Do it again. Doing it live. Bye-bye, y'all.